Welcome back to Prospect Channels TV. My people, we don't come back again with another Ubonge update. This Mazi Nnamdi Kanu powerful live broadcast, on this very day that the federal government of Nigeria marked the reason why they hate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu so much, the reason why they want, to persecute him to the end. My people, this broadcast go shock you because right now, Nigerians are now re-uploading this broadcast, re-uploading it so that the world will hear what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have said. I am telling you, everything this man have said is happening in Nigeria today. So guys, let's quickly, hit the video. I beg, if today be your first time of coming out here, please kindly subscribe to this channel, share this video, make it go viral so that the world will understand what is happening in Biafra land. Thank you.
7 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra, and I do believe also by the same number of minutes, or should I say minutes past the hour, wherever you are residing or listening to us from. I welcome each and every one of you, and as I do so, I will encourage you to welcome those who are around you as well. As you all know, listening to us these days can be a very tortuous and very difficult affair. I believe that we are transmitting live, clear and direct via IPOB Community Radio, Radio Biafra app, and all the other platforms across the entire spectrum of social media. I believe that we are live on those platforms and direct at this very moment. Our satellite is working, I understand. I do not know of our relay stations back in Biafra land because we are doing a major refit of all our systems to make it more robust and resistant to attempts by the enemies to try to cripple what we are doing, because if they stop us from disseminating this very wonderful gospel, then we are in very serious trouble. Therefore, I welcome each and every one of you. I did recommend earlier before coming on air that we should all have downloaded IPOB Community Radio and Radio Biafra apps because they are low data usage. If you download them, it's not going to cost you more data than you already expend should you prefer to listen via YouTube or Facebook. Therefore, my recommendation, as always, will be please go and download IPOB Community Radio. Also download Radio Biafra app. Via those mediums and platforms, you should be able to listen to us, not just now, but going forward. Allow me to once again welcome each and every one of you. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the director of Radio Biafra and Biafra Television, and by the very special grace of the Most High Elohim, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra, and by extension, to those ethnic groups within the damnable zoological republic that are yearning for freedom the same way that we are in the East. I welcome all of you. And that it is customary with us, we must hand over our proceedings this very evening, morning, afternoon, or night, depending on where you are, to the Most High in heaven. Let us pray, and I will pray in English today. Our Father who art in heaven, Elohim Adonai El Shaddai, we come before thee because your children, your people of this very nation called Biafra, and everything in it belongs to you. We are not here today by accident. You are the one who created us and set us in this very land of the rising sun at this particular time in history for the glory of your name and your name alone, and not that of any man. But our Father, people in this very nation, in the land of Biafra, some of them have decided to eat their own flesh. They have decided to turn against your very work, which is the restoration of your kingdom upon the face of this very earth, as was prayed for by Yeshua. Those we consider as brothers and sisters are in bed with our enemies, the Janjaweed Caliphate from the north. They have turned against your work. But your word always said that if we humble ourselves and turn from our wicked ways, you will heal our land. That is why we participate in atonement every blessed year, and you have healed our land. You have given us Eastern Security Network, and that irrepressible march to freedom has commenced. May you heal our hearts, heal our land, remove bitterness and resentment from our hearts, and help us once again, as our ancestors did, to live like your children, under your grace, your mercy, and your eternal blessing. All this we ask in the name that is greater than every other name, Elohim, now and forevermore we pray. He said, as it is also usual with us here, we encourage you to have your pen and paper ready this very evening, because at the end of this very divine process that we have embarked upon, the world will know that indeed Chukwokika Biama is our God, as we have maintained in times gone by. Before we came, there was none like us. Now that we are here, they can try to be like us, but they can never be. And after we are gone, they will wish that we live forever. The earlier, should I say, the sooner our enemies and detractors understand this, the better for them. Those who underestimate our resolve do so at their peril. But having said that, we are not underestimating the enormity of the task before us. And our people must listen to this very gospel very carefully and attentively this evening, morning or night, depending on where you are. Our problem did not start today. Our inability collectively to appreciate the magnitude of the mess we are in is responsible for what the Fulani Janjaweed and corrupt politicians are doing in our land today. Those who are understanding or discerning enough, those who are capable of reading between the lines, will understand that as soon as Britain refused to make Dr. Azikiwe the Prime Minister of Nigeria in 1960, that was when all of us, our fathers, should have realized that the game was up. But because we never learned from history, that is why we are in the mess we are in today. That is why governors who are elected by the people will collude with our enemies from the north to transport our people to death camps in the northern part of the damnable Zoological Republic. That is why governors of the southeast will gang up and organize to invite Fulani killer army, a terrorist squad, to come into our land to kill us at will, because we never learned from history. Azikiwe is the only frontline nationalist in the whole of Africa not to be made the prime minister or president of a newly independent, of course, European-created enclave. Only Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe in the whole of Africa. In fact, in the whole of the world. Anywhere you have a frontline freedom fighter, at the end of that very process, that very nationalist or freedom fighter is made the head of state of that very nation. The only place that that failed to happen was in the Zoological Republic called Nigeria. It happened to a Biafran, it happened to an Igbo man. Our people never learned anything from that. That was when Britain started to tell us that they are going to deal with us. Some of you do not understand nor appreciate history. We are the only people, along with the Benin Kingdom, to put up a very stiff resistance against British encroachment into our land. We fought them for 40 years. 40 years. Remember biblically what 40 years is all about. Until Arochukwu fell in 1904. These are the things that our people cannot come to terms with. Because if you understand this very basic, or should I say rudimentary history, you will be forced to acquire some semblance of reasoning capacity. Because the problem that we suffer from is mostly located in our brain. We do not reason properly as a people. Do not take it as an insult. No, not at all. It is a fact. When Britain refused to make Azikiwe the Prime Minister of Nigeria, we should have known that our time was up, that they were going to come for us sooner rather than later. What is happening in Nigeria today, a Nigeria created not by an African, a Nigeria created not by your ancestors, a Nigeria created not by gathering all the component ethnic groups together and asking them what they want, but a Nigeria created by a foreigner, a Nigeria created by those that came and took us to the Americas as slaves, a Nigeria created for the exploitative purposes of the British Crown, a Nigeria created to serve one sole purpose, to make sure that as a people, we will never ever see economic, political, nor social advancement. Because those that created the place that you call your country, Nigeria, never had your interest at heart. Sadly, I would say very, very sadly, African nationalists failed to understand this. They wanted to be kings and emperors in empires they themselves did not conquer nor create, but created by a white man to serve the purpose of draining not just our treasury, but our mental capacity forever and ever. What am I trying to say is that as long as Nigeria continues to exist, we would continue to be the last of the very last in the indices of human development right across this very planet Earth. There will be no freedom. You will not have the right to choose those that will represent you. If you remain in Nigeria, If the army doesn't kill you, the police will kill you. If the police doesn't kill you, Fulani terrorists will kill you. If they all fail to kill you, hunger and deprivation will kill you. There is only one solution to kill Nigeria before Nigeria kills everybody else. What is happening in the zoo today is a very clever ploy by Britain. Not all British people, mind you, because there are wonderful people in Britain. But those that are referred to as neo-colonialists. Nigeria was designed to hold us down, everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. Even the Fulani that you think are having fun, most of their people are suffering and crying as well. Only if they can settle down and listen to this very gospel and the ones we have preached before now, they will begin to appreciate our magnanimity. Because we want to save everybody, even beyond the borders of the zoo. We want to save every African man and woman, child, every black person right across this very planet Earth. If they are willing and able to learn, then we all are going to be free. The task is huge, it is enormous. Because our enemies are sophisticated, they are embedded, they control the media. Sometimes they even determine the narrative. They can say that an innocent man is guilty and you all will swallow it. They can say that a guilty man is innocent and all of you will swallow it. That is why it is very, very critical that people are educated, that they understand what is confronting them and be able to develop the ability to counter every move of the enemy. As you all know very well, the zoo, the media, not just in the zoo, but all over the world, they have been bought over, as you all know, very, very clearly. If we fail to do something about our situation, we are all going to drown. We would all perish. Unless you are understanding and discerning enough, you will not know that you are in bondage in the zoo. Our approach to these issues, or should I say my prescription, is tough love, not warm words that get you nowhere. That is why we do things the way we do them. That is why we give you the truth raw. Some people say we are insulting them. Some say we are rude, we are arrogant. We accept. As long as you understand that the message we are seeking to pass across to humanity is the truth. We are the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, under oath, I should say, to restore Biafra. Some people, when you ask them what is their religion, they may tell you, we are Christians, we are Jews, we are all the rest of it, Islam, Buddhism, just name it. But we want the world to understand why we are fanatical about Biafra and willing to do even the undoable to ensure that Biafra is restored. Biafra to us is a religion. A religion. It is a way of reasoning and a way of life. We believe that the restoration of Biafra is not in the gift of man to give. No single man can ever give you Biafra. It's impossible. Biafra is the gift of the Most High Elohim to give. How we prepare and position ourselves on this very earth, both physically and spiritually, will determine if God will love us enough to give us his kingdom on the face of this very earth. That was why in his infinite mercy, Eastern Security Network was established to secure our land, And anybody foolish enough, anybody stupid enough to seek confrontation with us, as I have said previously, before you come to look for us, before you enter into our forest to perhaps die there, because you all will perish anyway. Look at Yemen, look at Somalia, and look at Syria. Let them be at the back of your minds. Whoever is charged with making that very decision to launch an armed confrontation against the Eastern Security Network. I'm saying this to the hearing of the whole world. As you all know me, I do not do anything in secret. Everything we do is out in the open. Anybody foolish enough, because I know the Janjaweed are very foolish. You know, the Fulani, they have what I call the mentality or the mindset of Mohammed Siad Barre, the erstwhile president of Somalia. They never reason, they never listen. They are not intelligent enough to understand when the end has come. The only people supporting them is Britain. And we are not going to fool ourselves. Britain does wield a very considerable clout. They are taking our oil in our land. Now they have found gold also in the north. So the zoo has never failed, not once in its entire, should I say, 60-year history, to serve the interest of our colonial masters, those that created us. People say God created. I said to them, you are very, very foolish. God never created Nigeria. A man and a woman did. They are mortal flesh and they are dead. The same way they died is how the zoo is going to die. Nobody can save Nigeria. Nobody can, because it is written. How I want people, those who are averse to history, those who don't understand history very well, even those who claim they are writers, they are novelists. You know the thing about we black people, once you do something and you get accolade or praise from white people or from BBC, you think you've arrived. That's the one thing about our people. You think once they give you one award or the other, once a white man confers that legitimacy or validity on your work or your talent, you feel you've arrived. One major mistake that black people always make: efforts to divide the East. How has it been possible to keep Nigeria as one, as a failed state that it is, as a terror-ravaged contraption that it is, as an abomination that it is? How have they managed to keep Nigeria together? Look no further than what happened during the End SARS protest. When I preach all the time and I say to black people that your mental weakness, your inability to reason properly is why you are suffering, they say it's an insult. No, it is not. They managed to divide those who are protesting by introducing two key elements they know will appeal to their primordial instincts. What are those? Religion and ethnicity. Let me tell you something you don't understand. That is the only instrument the Europeans had to divide and conquer Africa. What they did was to pass it on to the Fulani Janjaweed. And with the help of the Fulefus and traitors in our midst, in the entire South, both Yoruba and in Biafra, both in Oduduwa and in Biafra, it appears that they have managed to now gain the upper hand in the past decades. These continued efforts to divide the East, I can assure them tonight, has failed and will continue to fail. And I want our people from Igodomigodo to Bakassi, from Idoma land to Opobo to understand this. They come to you, they plead with you to amplify your ethnicity against one another. It's a very clever trick. Whereas over the years, if not since the coming of this Janjaweed Caliphate government of the late dead Buhari, before now, it was IPOB and Radio Biafra that made it possible for people to distinguish between a Fulani and a Hausa person. Before, I'm sure all of you go back to your history, you see Hausa Fulani, Hausa Fulani. It was on this very platform, painstakingly, we lectured and educated people to understand that Hausa is different from Fulani. The same people who, they're like parasites. The same people who over the years, we are trying as much as possible to have this cohesion between Fulani and Hausa together as one political bloc. When they come to our land, they tell you you are Efik, you are a Bibio, you are a Jo, a Zon, you are a Shekiri, you are a Urobo. That you are different. You must understand the reason why they keep harping on your differences, which in actual fact doesn't exist because we are all one people, is because it makes it easier for them to conquer you. Common sense. They know that if you go to Migodo, Edo State, of course you do. They know that if they come together with Ishekiri, with Urobo, with his own, with Igbo, with Idoma, with Igala, with Ibanke, everybody, when I say Igbo, I mean Ibanke as well. They know it becomes impossible to penetrate. We become free people. For them to succeed is a very clever ploy, which unfortunately Yoruba media is in support of. And I have warned them repeatedly. I have warned my Yoruba brethren repeatedly that this double game you are playing will consume you. And today they are in Yoruba land killing and taking over their forests. If not for the bravery of Eastern Security Network, I do not think for once that Amotekun would have had the balls, or should I say the courage, to confront Fulani headsmen in their forests. Understand this very cleverly. What they do is very simple. They come to your land as they have done with Hope Uzodinma in Imo State. As we understand they have done with George Obiozo this evening. They plant your leaders for you. Your leaders who cannot rise up to challenge their hegemony. That is where I give Yoruba land some credence, or should I say some credit. Because they have not allowed themselves to become as divided and damaged as the East is. Can you imagine for 1 second? I ask you to ponder this for a second. A Fulani governor is interested in relocating all Fulanis across the Sahel into Nigeria, so that the Fulanis can have a country they can call their own home. In the East, there is a governor. Despite being an Igbo man, speaking Igbo, raised as in Igbo setting, he's saying he's not Igbo. I just want, for one, I don't know how to explain this so that people can understand it. I just want for 1 second for people to sit down and ponder this. It's a very simple, it's not a conundrum, it's very easy to untangle. The person telling you that you are from Niger Delta, the person telling you to accentuate your ethnicity or your tribe, as the case may be, the person telling you that you are not related to an Igbo man, the person telling you that you are not Biafra, the person telling you that Efik is different from even a Bibio is different from Anang, the same man telling you this is bringing his brothers and sisters from Senegambia, from Mali, from Niger, as Fulani headsmen, as bandits, as terrorists, to come into our country, into our space, to take it over. You, his counterpart in the East, you are doing your level best to make sure you divide your own people. And when you go to some of these people, they will tell you that divided we fall, united we stand. And that was a very clever thing they did. And that was how they managed to divide us, weakening us and making it easier for them to plant Hope Uzodinma without election as Imo State governor, and now to plant George Obiozor as Ohaneze president. I'll get to that later on. Britain knew that the light of Africa will come from the land of Biafra. They all know it all over the world. As I told you earlier, 2 years ago, I told you that I was at a meeting with the UN officials in Geneva. And one of them said to me, it is not that we don't talk about Biafra or want our member states or nations to understand what is going on in the land of Biafra. But as soon as we mention the word Biafra, they all get up and walk away from the room. I announced it here live on this very platform, Radio Biafra. Some of you didn't actually absorb it. Some of you don't know the obstacle that Biafra is facing. You think Biafra is easy to get. No, it is not. No, not at all. The enemies we have outside is uncountable, not because we have done anything wrong, but because Britain realized that with Biafra existing as a free nation, that every black person around the world will become free. They understand that. It's just like when you go to a stream and you don't want people to drink the water coming from that very stream. You go to the source of the water and you pollute it. Because if you come downstream and you pollute it, people can still go to the middle or even to the front to go and fetch clean water. So if you don't want people to drink from a particular stream, you pollute it from the source. They know that the source of freedom for black people, both those in North America, those in South America, those even in Papua New Guinea, those everywhere around the world, they know that Biafra is the key. A free Biafra means that black people all over the world will become free. That was why I said that Biafra is the last miracle. I want you to understand this. All of these obstacles cannot stop us from getting Biafra. It cannot. Instead, it emboldens us. Because the more difficult the process of emancipation, the more enjoyable the outcome when finally freedom comes. If we don't do something, I'm telling everybody, both those in the Middle Belt, those in Yoruba land, go and write down everything I have said in the past. Try and, compare it to what is happening now. You see that we have always been right. If we do not act now, we will become more fragmented. They will conquer us and extinguish us from the face of the earth. As I told you, the Hausa race no longer exists, only by language. Hausa people have nothing now as we speak. They have nothing, only their language. Hausa people no longer have any discernible political system. They have no hold over their future or their lives. They can answer Malam all they like, but their traditional rulers forever and ever will remain an emir. And an emir is a Fulani. In other words, apart from the language, it has now dawned on them. That is why Fulani have now taken to the front seat. And you cannot hear Hausa people even complaining. They know they are finished. They know they are gone. How did they succeed in doing this? Even before the white man came, the Fulani succeeded in dividing the Hausa peasants from their kings, deceived them, took Sokoto from them, and the rest of Hausa land. The only place they couldn't take is present-day Borno, and you can see how they're fighting tooth and nail to take it. Kanu Borno said no. And they are fighting. And they are free, of course, to a limited extent. That is what we all need to do. Therefore, anybody who comes to you to preach one Nigeria, you must go back to educate that very fool. I keep saying it. Anybody who believes in one Nigeria cannot be regarded as an educated person. For the very simple reason, I wrote this a few days ago. You cannot claim to be equal to a white man. A white man can come to Africa to create a country for you, black people in Africa, which means that all of you are incapable of creating a country for yourselves. That is what it means. You have surrendered your future to them. That's number one, for those who believe in one Nigeria. Number two, if you have any self-worth, any self-respect, any regard for human dignity, there is no way you will allow somebody to come all the way from Europe to build a country for you in Africa. I give you a very simple example. There is a place called India. I'm sure that some of you know that India used to be comprised of, I think it's Bangladesh, India itself, Pakistan, Kashmir, and is it Bengal? But this is how human beings reason. And the selfishness you have in the Nigerian political system today did not start today. It started from Azikiwe, Awolowo, and Tafawa Balewa, or should I say Ahmadu Bello. It didn't start today. Selfishness. Why do I say selfishness? Because in India, where you have people, or should I say leaders that loved their people, what did they do? What did they do, I ask you? Upon Britain leaving India, they came together and said, we are not compatible. India, you are predominantly Hindu people. We in Pakistan, we are predominantly Muslims. There is no way we can coexist in the same country. So they sat down and decided to partition upon independence. Any sensible being, which we thought that Dr. Zikiwe was, should have realized, because the Sadwana of Sokoto told him, Ahmadu Bello told him that we are incompatible. Awolowo said the same thing, that Nigeria is a contraption. You cannot force people to be together. They all knew that Nigeria was unworkable in 1957, 58, 59, 19. They all knew. Exactly with what is happening today, despite knowing that Nigeria was unworkable, because they are going to answer President, the Prime Minister. They will have beautiful houses in Ikoyi, in VI. They will be lording it over other people. They decided, out of expediency, to go for the rubbish that Britain created for them. And today, is India doing well? Pakistan, that is now offering to come and help the zoo to fight insurgency. I hope all of you can understand all of this. I hope you're following what I'm saying. Because in Africa, you people are not human beings. The white people, they see you, or should I say, they see you as animals. Forget all the pretense. Africa, you're part of Commonwealth. You are not. They don't have any regard for you. Do you know why? Because they created you. They made you who you are. If as a man or a woman, you're grown up, you're intelligent enough, you cannot build a country for yourself, you have to wait for a European to come all the way from Europe to build countries for you in Africa, that means you're an idiot. There is no difference between you and an animal. Absolutely no difference. It's not an insult. I'm just trying to make you... Now, put yourself in, should I say, in the position of those who are reasonable or sensible enough. Do you think that as a black man from Africa, you can go to Europe, you can go to Germany and create a country for them? Can you do it? Of course, the answer is no. If you cannot do it, then why did you allow them to come to Africa to create a country for you? After creating this country for you, half of Yoruba land is in Benin Republic. The other half is in Nigeria. One is French, one is English. And people don't feel ashamed of themselves. There is no pride. There is no shame. People are not ashamed of themselves. We are Africans and we are black people for that matter. So by nature, we are ethnocentric. We are very tribal by nature. We are not Europeans. And people may wonder, why am I saying this? Because in Europe, they don't have a village in Europe. Somebody can be born around Trafalgar Square. If you ask him, so I'm from London. And after a while, they might migrate to New Zealand or to Australia. And they start living there. They have no root. This is something that Britain has been trying to destroy in Africa for very many centuries. You people don't understand this. The fact that we have a village we go back to, we say, if you ask us where we are from, even if we are born in New York, we say, oh, we are from Umunede. Oh, we are from Abo. No matter where you are born. That is why we migrate like wild beasts every Christmas to go back home. Because a basic African man or woman is ethnocentric. You must go back to the tribe you come from. That's who we are. Nobody can change that. It's in our genes, in our bones. Why am I saying all of this? To let you understand that the reason why not just Nigeria, the whole of Africa is poor is because we did not determine our future. The people that they put down during independence, flag independence, so it is because no state in Africa is independent, including South Africa. The people that they put in power are behaving just like Dave Umahi, Wike, and Obiana and Ibaz. Exactly the same. There's no difference. Because of what you can gain. And Ibazo must know that we have his contacts in Australia. Ibazo wants to go to Australia to go and buy houses and relocate his family. We are waiting for him. We know all the, and we'll get to that later on. What am I trying to point out to you is that once you allow your future to be determined by those who don't understand who you are and how you reason, you are finished. That is why Africa can never, ever be developed. Never. It's not the fact that they are coming and taking away our resources. That is by the way. The key thing is the way we reason. Our brain is the problem. Can you tell me that somebody went to a university, well-read, well-versed, eloquent, very erudite, and that person will come out to offer what they may seem as a credible defense of one Nigeria? And I keep asking them, on what basis are you defending Nigeria? Did your ancestors create Nigeria? Is Nigeria homogeneous in terms of value system, in terms of even education, in terms of religion, in terms of culture, in terms of what? Tell me what should make Nigeria great one day. What is it? Oh, perhaps terrorism. I forgot. In order to ensure, please, I hope that people are not, I'm lecturing this evening. I hope people are not going to get tired because I want to teach this is very, very important. Britain crafted, or should I say set up what they call the Willing Commission to discuss or look at the plight of the minorities in the East, not in the West, not in the North, because they understand. I'm just trying to let you understand how far they went in order to destroy us. It was cleverly planned. Britain understood that divided they fall. Britain came and said, we are setting up the Willing Commission. The remit of the Willing Commission is to look at how Igbo people are treating Ibibio people, Efik people, Ijaw people in the East. That was why they set it up. Nothing in the West, nothing in the North, nothing. But in the North of Nigeria, where the Fulanis are a minority, in the North, you have over 200 tribes and ethnic groups in the North. I said 200, over 200. Even in Sokoto State, it's not just Fulani and Hausa that are in Sokoto. There are other ethnic groups in Sokoto. Britain did not set up any commission to look at the plight of the Bachama people, the Biras and all the rest of them. No. Despite the fact that they had Fulani emirs imposed on them, no, Britain did not see that. No, of course not. There was no minority commission in the North. Britain came to the South to set up a minority commission, tried to remind us, oh, you are from Ibibio, you are from Anam, you are from Efik, you are from Ijaw, you are different from Igbo. That's all. That was what they, because they realized that if these people can forget There are differences, of course, there is none, because we are all Igbo people. I keep saying it. That is why you know that God is miraculous. Chukwokikabiama, wonderful God. You know, I don't know. It's like a code. This Biafra we are pursuing is like a code. One day you discover one thing, the next day you discover another, until we discover all the codes. We cannot be free. What am I talking about? Do you know that, funny enough, all the states that they created and they called it South, in all of them, there are indigenous Igbo people in all of them, including Bielsa. There are Igbo people everywhere. There are Igbo people. I don't mean those trading in Calabar, or in Oron, or in Eket, or in Ekotep. No. I said indigenous. They are part and parcel of Benue State, part and parcel of Kogi State, part and parcel of Edo State, part and parcel of every state, the so-called South, there are Igbo people everywhere. If you look at the map that they claim today are Igbo people of the 5 states, you see it's very, very tiny and very small. That is to intimidate you into submission. Any day you rise up to ask for Igbo people in Benue State, they complain. Igbo people in Kogi, they complain. Today they held a Hanese and Igbo meeting. Should I say election, to elect a new Hanese President General, which is why the election is illegal. It is illegal, and I'll tell you why it's illegal. Igbo people in Benue did not vote. Igbo people in Kogi did not vote. Igbo people in Cross River did not vote. Igbo people in Akwa Ibom did not vote. Igbo people in Bayelsa did not vote. Are you listening to me? Igbo people in Edo, Iwanke did not vote. In Ohanese, but they're all Igbo people. Now tell me where Obiozo will derive his legitimacy from. I am touching upon all these things so that you can understand that the way you reason, your process, your thought process, and the way you reason is what makes you a human being. How can you have Ohanese and Igbo holding elections in Owerri, whereas Igbo people in Benue are not there? So what you're saying, those of you gathered in Owerri, is that those in Benue are not Igbo. We can dash them to Fulani Janjaweed. And do you know that those in Benue, they are called Northern Nigerians? Igbo people in Benue are Northerners. Are you aware of that? Igbo people in Kogi are called Northerners. Are you aware of that? I want you to reason, please. Reason only can get us out of this mess that we are in. Britain set up the Willing Commission to divide us in the East, and they did. Our failure to realize that we are one people is why we are suffering today. Of course, I admit, and let me also apologize tonight live on air to people of EFIC. Nnamdi Azikiwe removed Dr. Eyoeta as the head of government business in Enugu when they kicked him out of Ibadan, Yoruba land. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe single-handedly sowed the seeds for division in the East by removing Eyoeta. And this evening, I apologize on behalf of IPOB, on behalf of every, conscionable Easterner, that what Zeke did was absolutely horrendous. It is awful, it is bad. Eyoeta was doing very, very well. Dr. Ekpo married Margaret Ekpo from Anambra State. Some of you don't know that. Margaret Ekpo International Airport in Calabar is actually an Anambra woman. Some of you don't know that. She's an Igbo woman, of course. Some of you don't know, but we're letting you know tonight that we are one people. We intermarried. In CBD came from that axis, Arochukwu, Abreba, Ejagam. We are one people. But Britain came and said that we are not the same people. And you see where we are. I'm from Cross River. I'm from Akwa Ibom. But in the north, they say they are from the north. That's what they tell you. We are from the north. They even usurped Middle Belt. That has nothing to do with Fulani heritage. They took everything over. Say we are north. When they try to form a group to represent the interest of the Middle Belt, they started complaining. No, we are one north. But in your own village, they're dividing you. I'm from Anambra. I'm from Imo. I'm from Enugu. The more you play this very ridiculous game, the more they advance their cause. Very, very important. None of those at Enugu then realized the damage Eyoeta's removal by Dr. Azikiwe would have caused in furtherance of the British agenda to divide and destroy us from within. I have apologized to the Efik nation, and I shall do so again. We are sorry for the mistakes and division caused by the politics of Dr. Azikiwe, the division that they brought to our land. We apologize. We are one people. And I have treated this very topic before, but it's very simple. If you say that we are not all one people, go and Google Efik now. Go to your Google and search for Efik. They will tell you their relatives, Ibibio and Igbo. They are all related. You search for Ibibio, they will tell you Ibibio is Igbo. You search for Anang, they will tell you that Anang is related to Ibibio, and Ibibio is related to Igbo. You go to Ejo, you do the same thing in Ejo, they will tell you that Ejo is related to Igbo. You go to Lower Benue, Idomaland, you ask them, they will tell you they are related to Igbo. They have 4 market days. You go to Ubiaja, which is the Eshan, it is the same thing. 4 market days. We are all one people. But because they planted people to divide us, agents of destruction, you call them governors, you call them House of Reps members, you call them senators, because they planted them in our midst, they empowered them, they use Yoruba media to show them up. That is why we're in the mess we're in today. In actual fact, we are all one people. I said, don't take my word for it. Simply go to Google and Google Ejo. You will see their relatives. That we see Igbo there. Who is your relative? Is it not somebody who you're close to by blood? Is it not? We launched ESN. One of the strongest sectors we have is Bayelsa. The people who rose from Bayelsa say, "Oh, we want our own regional security." But when the West did theirs, it was only one. When the North did theirs, it's only one. It's only in our land. After launching Eastern Security Network, one idiot from somewhere in Bayelsa or from River State will say, "Oh, we want our own for a nation." Is this either inferiority complex, or these people are acting a script written by their Fulani Janjaweed masters? I want you to understand this very clearly. Now, there is another thing that these guys have cleverly done, which some of you don't understand, but I will tell you tonight. And I, of course, we and I will do the Wa people, we have a very great understanding. They know I have a lot of respect for them and regard for their history and what they have managed to accomplish. But there is one aspect of Yoruba people that you cannot reform. They are journalists, they are media. They are horrible. You know me, I speak the truth. Ordinary Yoruba person is great, he's good these days. But their media, their media is horrible. Absolutely horrible, horrendous. And it is because they're afraid of Fulani. Yoruba journalists is afraid of Fulani. Or should I say they're trying to protect their interest because they know that 2023, in every likelihood, they may rig Tinubu into office. But I want to remind them of this, please. Very, very important. Because anytime Yoruba newspaper writes about IPOB or Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, my humble self, they will say proscribed, proscribed, proscribed. In other words, some people feel that they have something to gain from Nigeria over and above their well-being, their safety, their honor, and their dignity. I have never seen any Yoruba newspaper campaign for the designation of Miyetti Allah as a terrorist group. None whatsoever. Because if we are still talking about one Nigeria, maybe one day it will be our turn to go back to ASOROCK again. One of the hottest regions that experienced the end SARS protest is Yoruba land. And for very good reason, for that matter. But Obasanjo was in ASOROCK for 8 years. Did your lives improve? Jonathan was in office for 6 years. Go to Bayelsa and see how horrible life is there. Yaradua was in office. Today, go to Katsina. The late Buhari, and in whose name this present fraud is in ASOROCK now. Go to Katsina. Are they not kidnapping people? But I keep saying this, that people don't understand it. It's very simple logic. People prefer US visa, Canadian visa, New Zealand visa, Australian visa, Schengen visa, British visa, to living in the zoo. And I asked them, the president of America, is he from your village? I mean, not all of you campaigning for tribal presidency. He's the ton of an Igbo man. He's the ton of a Yoruba man. It must come to the south. Let me ask you, all of you have houses in Dubai. You travel to America, or some of you have houses in London. In England, is the Queen of England from your village? So what it means in actual fact is that it doesn't matter where somebody comes from. It doesn't matter where a president comes from. What matters is the policies that individual is pursuing. Do you think we are that primitive and that crude enough to support any venture as daft as Igbo presidency? Look at Jonathan. I'm asking you a simple question. Look at Jonathan. Is Biafra any better? The so-called South-South? Look at Yoruba land. My very good father, Paya, the Banjodos who are campaigning, these are serious, learned men, campaigning for Nigeria to change. But they had their own son. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. They created billionaires like Otedola and Adenuga that owns Glo. Obasanjo empowered a few people to become billionaires, that's all. An ordinary Yoruba man or woman is suffering the same way an ordinary Biafran man and woman is suffering, the same way an ordinary middle belt man and woman is suffering, the same way even Hausa man is suffering and woman, even Fulani is suffering. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? You allowed them to divide you. I remember NSAS very well. Shoyinka was talking about it a few days ago. You know, when you come out for a revolution, you must go to the end. No revolution is pretty. Before next time, of course, there's going to be protests next, and we are going to lead it. When next you are planning to come out to protest, before you do so, go and study the history of revolution. Russian Revolution, French Revolution, the Commonwealth, which is Cromwell's revolution in England, and George Washington's revolution in America. You can even read Chairman Mao's revolution. They are not pretty. They are not pleasant, I'm telling you. If you think that revolution is that you come out on the street, you dance to musicians, because you have seen Flavor, you have seen other musicians, you think that it's going to be a carnival, jamboree. No, it is not. They are only starting it. When the revolution failed was when Yoruba media allowed themselves to be used because they thought that should Nigeria collapse, Tinubu will not be president in 2023. That's all. So they kept writing. They kept writing. They introduced ethnicity. They brought in tribe. They brought in religion. They kept pumping your brain with rubbish, with nonsense every blessed day. Because you were not mentally tuned or tough enough to realize that in every revolution, things are very, very difficult. Because you failed to understand this. That was why you messed up. Everybody went home. You started looking for bags of rice, bags of beans. I'm sure that some of you have finished those palliative bills that got 1 carton of Indomie. The palliative is gone. And you're still in pain and in suffering. Had we remained on the streets, forgotten about palliatives, remained on the streets, by now the zoo would have collapsed. But you know, Yoruba media, they would like you to blame somebody. You want to blame. There has to be somebody to blame. Oh, is it not?